Off-Season Adventures is a US-based tour operator sending people to Tanzania on safari and cultural excursions. We promote the off-season as the best time to travel to Tanzania and eventually anywhere around the world. Going to Tanzania is one of the most life-changing things that has ever happened to me. You are able to have such a different type of experience with the familiarity of home and your family. The people there are so warm and welcoming to travelers. The things that you can see are just spectacular. If it's from a coffee tour or a market tour or viewing the wildlife in the Serengeti, all of these experiences are something that you really just can't get anywhere else. The first time I went there was through a class trip, and that was through Boston University. We stayed there for about 10 days. We were observing and studying the tourism economy there and its implications on economic development. And so that's where I met my guide. So the guide that I had on that trip is now my business partner. The off-season in Tanzania is March, April, May, and November. So off-season adventures, we focus on sending people during those months. However, we also try and send people during the shoulder season, which are the months around those times as well. A typical tour to Tanzania can range. It depends on how much time you have available to travel. I would say a typical amount of time for people would be weekend to weekend. So you would take off 1 week of work, but you would be able to spend 8 to 9 days on the ground. Most of the travelers will want to do a safari or a safari-based tour. So you'll have maybe 5 out of those 8 days or 6 out of those 8 days you're in the safari truck, which is a 4-wheel drive truck that you gallivant around the national parks. It has a pop top as well, so you can stand up in the car. You can take much better pictures that way. And that way also everybody has a great view all the way around. When you arrive in Tanzania, you'll probably arrive at Mount Kilimanjaro Airport or Arusha. From there, you will be taken to probably your first lodge, which will be in that area. You can have cultural excursions there, maybe a market tour or a coffee plantation tour, something like that. Then as you travel around the country, you're also staying at different lodges in different areas. There are so many national parks in the northern circuit of Tanzania, which is where we focus. You can really get interesting and different experience at each lodge that you're staying as you're working your way through the parks and the cultural excursions. We also make sure that we're minimizing the carbon emissions on all of our tours as much as possible and then offsetting where we can't. We make sure that the offsets are from the safari vehicles, the plane flights, and the accommodations for each day that people are in the country and their international flights coming to and from the country. We use a company on the ground called Carbon Tanzania, which uses the money that we give them as a way to preserve the forests in Tanzania. So when talking about sustainable travel, you want to make sure that you're talking about the economy, the people, and the environment of the destination. In Tanzania specifically, seasonality is an issue. There's a ton of people coming during one time of year and then not so many coming during the other time of year, during the off-season. So evening that out is economically beneficial for the local people there. We also focus on sending people to locally owned and operated lodges and hotels so that the money that's coming into the country is spread out rather than going to a foreign-owned lodge group. I hope to expand into countries that feel less accessible to the American tourist and finding a way to make those countries and those destinations accessible and sustainable at the same time.